very important to point out that the Spanish regulation is actually one of the best out there. It's pioneered some of the biggest actions in the protection of problematic gamblers and vulnerable groups. I remember back 10 years ago, probably, when we saw the first draft of Spanish regulation, there was almost an outrage among operators because it was way too restrictive for the time. We had compulsory registration forms with over 20 mandatory fields. We had customers had to specify their tax residency, which in Spain means that you're going to be passing information to the tax agency, which obviously is not something that's welcome normally by customers. We have real-time ID verification, which is something that just never happened before. Real-time identification of problem gamblers that are in registered list by the government. Preset deposit limits, self-assessment tests before raising those limits, and since then we've also been seeing a lot of other initiatives from the regulator, phishing alerts so that no one opens an account in the name of the third person, and a lot of other decrees that have been passed in the last few years, putting the Spanish regulation ahead of other markets, and actually most of the measures have been replicated now in regulated markets across the world. So I think from a problem gambling prevention standpoint, the Spanish regulation is way ahead and has pioneered the field. That means that if you look at the actual problem gambling figures in Spain, you see that according to the government, only 0.3% of public in Spain suffers from problematic gambling behaviors, which is one of the lowest rates in the entire world. What we do have is perception in the public that this problem is a lot bigger than it actually is. And in that sense, there are several measures that we can take proactively as an industry. One of them being the maximization of the tools that we get from advertising self-regulation regime that we have today, and clearly the implementation of all the technology measures that can allow us to be ahead of the problem. So detecting problematic gambling before it develops through artificial intelligence and the likes.